Alright guys, welcome to this episode of Head-to-Head Battle. So in today's episode, we're going to go over a true Draco deck profile. It's been updated a little bit, but we're still running the no extra deck variant, okay? So, as always guys, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. Hit that notification bell and join the notification squad. And use our TCG Player Direct affiliate code down in the description down below. Also, we live stream on Twitch and it is freaking popping. So if you want to stop by and show your support, our Twitch link is down in the description box below as well. So let's get straight into this deck profile. True Draco, helmets on, baby. We're gonna be running the normal True Draco ratio with 1 Dynamite. All right, we're gonna be running 2 Majesty Maiden. Now, Dynamite searches your trap cards from deck to hand or deck to activation. So Dynamite is a card that you do want to see, or you want to be able to search it off of Majesty Maiden, because with Maiden, you can activate Maiden to search your Dynamite to your hand, okay?
Wait, we can't forget about our sponsor, Sugen.
Without them, we wouldn't be able to bring the amazing content like the video you're watching now.
Make sure to buy their field centers and support them on Patreon and PayPal. Links down in the description down below.
Also, check them out on Twitch at twitch.tv/headtoheadbattles.
Follow us on Instagram and Twitter and send fan mail to our PO box. Now, let's get back into the action.
Next, we're playing 3 Ignis Heat, the True Draco Warrior. This card helps you get your True Draco spell cards from deck to hand or deck to activation, alright? Lastly, for the True Draco lineup, we're running Metaltron, the True Draco Combatant. So this card is kind of like a nuke, right? Because it requires 3 cards to put onto the field. So you can tribute a spell card, a trap card, as well as a monster card, and it won't be affected by any one of those. So it basically becomes unaffected by everything, and it has 3,000 attack. So it's really hard for a lot of decks to get over. Now, if you didn't know, all True Draco monsters are tribute summoned by tributing either, themselves or a continuous spell or trap card, okay? Now, we're running triple Inspector Border. Now, I used to put Inspector Border in the side, but the reason we're putting it back in the main deck is because Diagram is at 1 and Demise is at 1, which frees up 4 card slots. So it makes Inspector Border that much of an easier card to play in the main deck without any really second guesses, So that's it for our monster lineup. For our spells, we are running True Draco Heritage. What True Draco Heritage does is, it essentially is your deck's draw power, right? It's that consistent draw power. So whenever a True Draco or True King card goes from field to graveyard, you can activate this card to draw for as many that went from field to graveyard that turn. Up to 3 though. If you draw 5, that'd be way too broken, right? And also, all True Draco spell and traps have a secondary effect which allows you to tribute summon more than once a turn, okay? Next, we're running triple Disciples of the True Draco Phoenix. Now, this card allows you to recur your resources back from your graveyard to your deck, plus you get to draw a card. So let's say you have 3 True Draco spell or traps or monsters in the graveyard, right? You would shuffle 3 back into your deck and then draw 1 off the top. So this card not only helps you recur your resources, like your singular Dynamite or your singular True King's Return, but it also gives you a +1 in the form of a draw. Next, unfortunately, we're running 1 Dragonic Diagram. Dragonic Diagram is kind of like the consistency king in the deck, or was, but it still is. You don't see it as often, but with Terraforming and the Floodgates that we play, and the copy of Metaverse, it shouldn't be that too big of a problem. But I mean, obviously, it still does take a hit in consistency, okay? Next, we're running 2 Mystic Minds. You're saying, Susu, why don't you run 3? Well, the answer is very simple. I like friends. I want to keep my friends. And I feel like Mystic Mind at 2 in this deck especially is super good because it's just another Floodgate, right? Essentially. Next, we're running 1 Terraforming, 1 card Demise, and 1 Upstart Goblin. So Terraforming will search us either the Diagram or the Mystic Mind, but preferably the Diagram, right? Because we have Metaverse to get the Mystic Mind. Card Demise is at 1, so we'll just run 1, but it's such a good card if you have it in hand, and it's your last card in hand, right? And Upstart Goblin, obviously, we don't care about life points. We just want the extra cards in hand. Next, we're running 2 Pot of Dualities. The reason we don't run a third is because we want to keep this deck as compact as possible. And unfortunately, we do run a lot of spicy text, which doesn't leave us much room. But granted that this entire deck searches and adds, you don't really need a 3rd Pot of Duality, in my opinion, right? That's it for our spell lineup. Lastly, running our trap line. So we're running triple Solemn Judgments. I feel like Solemn Judgment is better than Strike, mainly due to the fact that you don't need a certain amount of life points to use it, right? Let's say you play the long grind game and you have 1,000 life points, and you need the Solemn Strike to resolve. You can't resolve it because you don't have the life points. Solemn Judgment, on the other hand, it'll cut your life points by half, right? So even if you have 1 life point left, you can still use Solemn Judgment, theoretically speaking. Next, we're running triple Monarchs Erupt. So the main reason we play this card is so we don't use an extra deck. So not only is this deck super cheap now, because you don't need an extra deck, a lot of the True Draco cards have also fallen down in price. So this deck is a good segue to actually get back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Or become a new Yu-Gi-Oh! Player in the first place. So Monarchs Erupt acts like a single-sided skill drain. The only way you can get this card to resolve is if you don't have an extra deck, which we don't. And you need to control a tribute summon monster, which all of our True Draco monsters are. This card is a super strong floodgate, and if you can resolve it after you've won the dice roll, your opponent just might scoop if they don't have an out to it, okay? Next, running True Draco Apocalypse. This card is the one card that will help you kind of get over the bigger monsters that your opponent may have. So this monster, upon activation, and also upon resolution, cuts your opponent's monsters attack by half. That's all monsters on their side of the field. So if you can't get over a monster and you have Dynamite, activate True Draco Apocalypse and it'll help you beat over their monsters, all right? Card's really good, and I'm really glad it hasn't been hit yet, okay? Next, we're playing the one True King's Return. True King's Return helps you, keep a monster always on board, but remember, it'll summon itself in defense position as a special summon. So if you have Monarchs Erupt on the field, and let's say your opponent destroys your monster, and then you use True King to bring it back, your Monarchs Erupt will still destroy itself due to the fact that you don't control a tribute summon monster, but it is a special summon monster, okay? Next, we're running 2 Crackdown. Crackdown is a very underrated card, and it's still really cheap. This card is really good because it'll stop your opponent's turn. So let's say, they normal summon a monster and their deck is reliant on it, and you crack down their normal summon, like you'll stop their turn, right? Next, we're playing 2 There Can Be Only Ones. There Can Be Only One is a really good floodgate against like certain archetypes that only play that one type of monster. So Adamantitators, like, cannot play under There Can Be Only One. Even Eldritch can't play under There Can Be Only One. Like, and all the new meta decks, even Salads, right, and DDDs, like, a lot of decks cannot play under There Can Be Only One. And funny thing is, neither can we, right? Because we run only worm monsters, but at the same time, we don't really need to play more than one monster. They're big enough of a beat stick that you can still win, like, easily, right? Lastly, for our traps, and the last 3 cards are Metaverse, Skill Drain, and Soul Drain. So Metaverse is for our Mystic Mind. So let's say we're going first, we couldn't get the Dragonic nor the Terraforming, right? But we have the Metaverse in hand. You can just set the Metaverse, let your opponent set up, and right when you feel like he's at like the bottleneck of his combo, you flip up Metaverse, activate Mystic Mind, and it's done. It's done. We're done. It's done, right? Skill Drain, like I said, it's another floodgate. But at the same time, Skill Drain is not as good as Monarchs Erupt, strictly due to the fact that it turns off your monsters as well, but it's still a really good card nonetheless. And Soul Drain. Soul Drain is just super good because it shuts off your opponent's banished and graveyard zones, or piles, and a lot of decks do play in the graveyard and or in the banished pile, right? So Soul Drain is a really good card. I might bump it up to 2 because I do want to see it more often, but for now, we are playing a 41 card main, so we'll keep it there for now, all right? All right, guys, so now we're gonna get into the side deck because we're not playing an extra deck. We're playing triple Nibiru, the Primal Being. This card is a big blowout, especially against decks like Heroes, but not against decks like Adamantitators because they can actually use a Nibiru token. But this will shut down a lot of decks because if you're playing Nibiru and on top of that you have like a Soul Drain on field, then you're just completely just shutting them out of their turn, right? And Nibiru is a dead card if you draw it off the top, like going second. But at the same time, like, I would rather use this in Sphere mode because I feel like this just has more utility when it's in hand, okay? Next, we're running 1 Artifact Scythe and 2 Artifact Sanctums, okay? A lot of decks, especially Synchro Spam, XC Spam, Fusion Spam, need to play cards out of their extra deck. And this package right here will kind of shut them out and kind of end their turn. If they can't build their board, it gives you time to build your own and do a lot of damage the next turn, right? Next, we're playing 3 Dark Ruler No More. This card is super powerful in this upcoming meta because some boards will be unbreakable, like guaranteed unbreakable. And as a true Draco player, we don't really care about doing too much damage and anyways. Like we're not a going second OTK deck, right? So Dark Ruler No More will help you shut off your opponent's entire board and really help you set your own board up. So if you kind of understand like what I've been saying, true Dracos are there to set up their own board and just play the waiting game, right? Next, we're playing triple Anti-Spell Fragrance. Anti-Spell Fragrance is a really good card going first against like pendulums and decks that require to play quickly or they fizzle, right? We're talking about decks that require like Adamantiator Signs, even Mystic Mind Burn. You know, everyone who's playing Fossil Dig and cards like that just require you to set cards before you activate, which essentially slows them down like a trap card. But it's even slower because you can't activate it on my turn if it's not a quick play card, right? And lastly, we're playing Triple Dimensional Barrier. Now, if you know what your opponent is playing, and you get to go first, you can just flip Dimensional Barrier and call fusions, right? So let's say you're playing against Invoke Shaddolls. D barrier, you flip it up, you call fusions. That's it. They can't summon their Mechaba. They can't Mechaba lock you. They can't Kaliga lock you. They can't Winda lock you. They can't get their Construct effect. And for cards that Synchro Spam, it's the same thing, right? I feel like D barrier is a card that's really slept on in this format. And on top of that, it's super cheap because it came out in Dual Devastator, right? So if you don't have a copy of D barrier, I suggest you pick it up as soon as possible because it will seriously help you as a blowout card in the April 2020 MR5. All right, guys. So that's it for today's deck profile of the True Dracos in the April 2020 format, MR5. If you like videos like this, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, hit that notification bell, and just, come support us on the Twitch live stream and all of our videos. Now, I figured something out about the YouTube algorithm. Apparently sharing the video is pretty big. So let's add one more thing to the list. If you want to support us, make sure you like this video, make sure you watch the video, and on top of that, please share these videos. So that's it for today's episode. This is Susu from Head to Head Battles, signing out.